Welcome to Motupōhue, Southland in New Zealand's deep south, a province of wilderness, beauty and abundance. This week, for a 68th year, the region plays host to the best road cycling talent from around New Zealand and offshore in the country's longest running and most prestigious road race. Over 100 riders across 18 teams doing battle across 867 kilometres of southern highway. Through fertile farmland, majestic fjordland, a defining climb up Queenstown's Remarkables, the iconic Bluff Hill, all leading to a winner being crowned in Invercargill 1 week later. This is the 2024 SBS Bank Tour of Southlands. Wednesday's highly anticipated Queen Stage of the 2024 Tour lived up to all expectations. The peloton rolled out of Mossburn in perfect conditions, bound for the Remarkables mountain range on the outskirts of Queenstown. After early breakaway attempts were thwarted, a sizable leading bunch made their move stick, but the peloton kept them on a tight leash, ensuring that the major climbers were delivered to the bottom of the climb in good shape. And they needed to be. The extended 10-kilometre climb pushing the 2024 field to the limit, with one notable exception. 2022 Tour winner Josh Burnett lived up to his favourites tag with a powerful ride to claim another remarkable stage win and ride into the Tour leader's jersey, taking a 48-second lead into Thursday's stage from Invercargill to Bluff Hill.
$10K climbing was a bit rude. There was the extra 4Ks from the last years, and yeah, I think the strongest rider on the day definitely came out on top.
It's just nice to pay the boys back for riding the front when they could be riding for themselves or trying to get their own result, but they all committed to the cause. So I'm super grateful, and it's just my way of trying to say thanks.
Yeah, G3 is a big goal for the team. I think we would have been pretty happy with even the top 5, but to have already moved up to second place and still in reaching distance of the orange jersey, we were pretty happy.
Yeah, so they used to be called Southern Cross Racing Academy, and changed name now. There's a couple of the same guys in it, but 3 of us are new to the tour, first time as well. So yeah, it's a good group of lads we have, and it's a good week with them. It's the best race in New Zealand, isn't it? So be rude not to. I need to do it one day, so yeah, hopefully it's more to come.
Yeah, it has been a tough start. I've had a tooth come out and had to get it drilled out and a few big needles, but it's a bit annoying being an Australian coming over to New Zealand and then having to pull out in the first stage. Yeah, so what happened was a stone flung up into my mouth and it just knocked it out, and I ended up swallowing the tooth, which was no good. But I ended up riding the rest of the stage or to the gravel sector with no carbs and no water, so that was pretty brutal. But yeah, when it happened, I just went straight out the arse of the peloton, and it was a tough day from there on in. We've still got 3 soldiers left riding on, and yeah, they're hopefully going to have a good day up Bluff today.
Today's the first day we've got the jersey, and now we have to ride like it's our race. So the boys know what to do. We trained for this. We prepared to ride the race this way. So we're definitely ready for it.
I don't expect too much to happen until the base of the climb. I think everyone's going to play it safe and then leave it to me and Josh to duke it out on the climb.
It's pretty still at the moment, but I think the wind's supposed to get up around halfway, and you saw on stage 1 how time gaps can really blow out with the wind. You can make a couple of minutes on the climb or whatnot, but if a split happens in the wind and you're not there, it's game on.
So a field of some 99 riders of the original 108 heading out of Invercargill. Plenty of schools out along the route here to support these riders, and a lot of signs no doubt today, Doug, for the man in the orange jersey, the local man, Josh Burnett.
Yes, the man in the orange jersey coming past Southland Girls High School here, always a huge supporter of the SBS Bank Tour Southland, but expectation is a great thing and a very big pressurised situation here too. Josh will realise that as well as he wears that orange jersey for the tour leader. A lot of the riders will be thinking ahead here in this stage. It does a few sort of zigs and zags before you head out of town and get to Edendale. Once you get to Edendale, things start getting a wee bit more lumpy.
Absolutely. They'll head across towards Wyndham, around through the scenic route, and eventually back down towards Tisbury and across to the big hill of the day, the Bluff Hill. It's been in this tour, Doug, for a significant amount of years. They've switched it around from the first day to the last day in the middle here, but backing up after a climb like yesterday here is going to be very difficult for a lot of these riders to do.
Getting to the bottom of Bluff in a recon or doing a Strava segment is one thing. Having raced 5 days and getting to the bottom of Bluff with all that racing in your legs is a whole different matter. We're going to see who's hoot here today, and we're going to see potentially some groups trying to get away, as they always do, before the Bluff Hill to try and get that buffer.
Yes, there's been a few teams that have missed out, as we've mentioned over the last few days, some of the key breaks. So they'll be keen to try and pick up a few dollars along the roads here. A lot of sprints on the roads here today, Doug, for the man in the green jersey. Of course, he's up against the likes of Tom Sexton, who's been picking up quite a few himself. But you can see Bailey in the Harcourt's Sprint Ace jersey, no doubt going to be to the fore throughout the day.
And of course, the Sprint Ace jersey is one of the jerseys. The under 23 jersey is another jersey that's being fought and hotly contested. The over 35 category, the silver jersey, of course, which is another competition within itself. And then, of course, on the shoulders of the tour leader, the polka dot jersey for the King of the Mountains. So there's lots of contests within contests in this SBS Bank Tour, and it can put in some complexities which the riders have to contend with on the fly.
And for Creation Signs Motupōhue today, of course, a whole different dynamic. They haven't had to defend at this point in time. Now today they're going to have to keep a very close eye on who's going to be heading off the front, who's trying to get that gap on the field. They'll have to make their decisions pretty quickly here, because this is always a very fast and furious race, and gaps open very quickly.
Fast and furious would be an understatement actually for this year's edition. The conditions, okay, we had some pretty tough conditions on day one, as we all saw, rain and wind and so on, but the conditions so far have been really favourable. Wind hasn't been too bad, but the speed these riders go at nowadays is just phenomenal. Looking back all over the years we've followed it and have raced in it, the speed just gets faster and faster and faster every year.
So Olympian Tom Sexton going off the front there of the group as they make their way past Tisbury School, and plenty of support for Josh Burnett. Of course, we're in the area in which he lives, just up the road here, so no doubt a lot of his friends and family out on the side of the road to support him.
Bailey O'Donnell, this year's Harcourt Sprint Ace leader for the Home Solutions team, is just hunting these sprint points. He realises his opportunity to maximise his gains, and as you said earlier, Julian, there are a lot of sprints along this road. He is really putting his head down and trying to get away and take some sprints coming into the township of Edendale.
He's joined by Elliot Robertson there of the Oxford Edge team, the team that was based in Belgium for a big chunk of this year. Got a lot of experience, so they can bring that into the SBS Bank Tour of Southland.
The repeated efforts of these front two, especially Bailey O'Donnell, really kicking into these sprint prems, has split this field, and there appears to be a wee bit of a breakaway group here forming at the front of the race. They're coming into the township of Woodlands en route to Edendale before they start heading off into the hills. Be a really, really interesting. If this group gets together, we could see a decent breakaway group form.
Yeah, there's certainly a real splintering of the front of the bunch here, as we got a number of riders trying to scramble their way across to the front. Bailey having a look over his shoulder, allowing another couple of riders to join in. He realised straight away that as a pairing, they weren't going to be that strong, but if we can add in another couple of guys here, we have potential to open up a decent gap, and it is doing that extremely quickly here, Doug.
Tends to happen on days 5 and 6 of the tour as everyone gets a wee bit more fatigued. It does become a factor. The breakaways go away a wee bit easier. The tenacity and the fortitude in the group to chase them down becomes a little bit less, and you often see this in the SBS Bank Tour as the race goes on. The breaks go away a wee bit easy.
Certainly some new names, some new colours up towards the front there. Hunter Goff coming through for the BJ Carter's Builders team, one of the men based down here in Invercargill. Zach Patterson, I think it is there, yes, I think from memory, a couple of years ago, took out the stage in Tutiano. So a bit of experience in amongst this group here as they power their way through. But the green jersey, he's on the hunt for points all day long here, and as we've said, there is a lot of them available. So riders will know that, and they'll be tracking him because he could be the guy that could assist them to drag off to the front.
So this front group now really have gelled well together, and they are really starting to get a bit of a lead. It appears there's some riders off the road there, and it looks like they've actually hit something on the side of the road. This is not a good thing to happen at all, especially at this point in the stage.
Now it looks like we potentially have got some riders that have hit the deck here as we put the brakes on, having a look around, trying to identify a few. Marshall Irwood, one of the Motupōhue boys from Southland here. Looks like he's trying to catch his breath a bit, and there's a couple of bikes lying on top of each other here, Doug, but no sign of the other rider. Potentially one of the PowerNet riders we can make out in the distance here. Copeland's involved as well. This has been a heavy fall for these guys.
There's Dr. Adam McClay, it looks like, attending to Marshall Irwood, one of the eyeballs here. This is just really, really bad news for these guys. It's the last thing you expect to see. Hopefully Marshall can get back on his bike and get going again, but it appears at this stage he is in a lot of trouble.
In the background there, Ollie Jones, one of the top contenders in this year's tour once again. He's had a heavy fall here. Now just taking the time to catch his breath. They've got the medical team on board here, and as you said, Doug, they do a great job of it here. Adam McClay and the team, and they'll be there to check on the riders, do the concussion check, and make sure that they're okay. If they can get them back onto the bikes, these riders will certainly make their efforts to get back out there.
You can see at the back of the group there, Bailey O'Donnell, Home Solutions rider, the Sprint Ace lad. He's having a look over his shoulder, looking back. Meanwhile, at the front of the race, a lot of these chaps may not have even realised that there'd been a incident back in that field. There seems to be a bit of communication going on and a bit of sitting up going on. So it'll be interesting to see whether Ollie Jones and Marshall would rejoin this race, because they look pretty crook.
Yes, I think it would be fair to say that the momentum in the peloton here is completely changed as riders have a look around for their teammates to ensure that they're okay, because for some of these teams they may well send some of their riders back as part of protocol to support their teammates and try and get them back to the front. Meanwhile though, there's two men who have decided it is time to lift the pace off the front here, and it's the figure of the climber from yesterday at the Remarkables, Whitehouse of the United Kingdom.
And here's the Pista Corsa rider sneaking across the course. The Pista Corsa guys were on the attack yesterday, and they've really showed their intent. Timmy Pawson will be skilling these guys up, I'm sure, but this front trio, led by Daniel Whitehouse, are starting to get a wee bit of a lead. A lot of racing here left yet, but I would have thought Daniel Whitehouse would have been in a conservation mode thinking about Bluff Hill.
Well, he certainly could be looking for a bit of a time gap there to ensure that he's got some sort of a distance heading into it. But of course, there's a long way to go here. The two men in our shots now, if you look at their profiles and it there, it tells you all about them being very good climbers. You can tell by the build of the two of the riders here that they certainly know how to go uphill. But today, they've decided they're going to try and sneak on off here. Haddon being the third man in the group from PowerNet. Now, this is the man who only came into the tour at the very last minute and took over the orange jersey on day one.
And a wee bit of a reaction here from Bailey O'Donnell. We can see sprint points heading off up the road with these three, and he's really put a concerted effort. That was a big ride for him to get across, and he's just got onto the back of the wheel of Zach Walker there from the Pista Corsa team. So Bailey O'Donnell joins this group, obviously in sprint points mode. Coming into the township of Wyndham now, there's quite a few sprints on offer through here, so Bailey O'Donnell really wanting to maximise his chances with that.
So these riders now providing themselves an opportunity to pick up more points in the sprint ace, particularly for the man in the green jerseys. You see him give it a wee bit of a nudge. The other riders just look at him and say, no, you can take that. They know why he is there. That is his sole objective for the day, to try and collect as many points as possible. Whereas we said a couple of those other guys are climbers. They're hoping that over those hills they might open a decent distance and potentially take out a stage.
Yeah, the peloton have regrouped, I guess, and got their mojo back. Here's young Josh Burnett in the orange jersey. Creation signs Motupōhue Cycling New Zealand project. Obviously the mechanics, you can see there trying to get through in one of the vans. They'll be going in and checking on any of the other riders that need any mechanical fixes made. But the leaders of this race are streaking away. This is quite a tough bit of road through here. There's a lot of classic races get raced in the local club season through this area, and they're having a bit of a refuel from all of the team vans. Often this is what happens. Of course, there's no feed zones, but that looks like it's one of the Japanese riders again that has made it across to this front group. That is an impressive ride. These guys really have come a long way, and they are seriously wanting to contest stage finishes.
Yeah, potentially I think it's Hashimoto that has made the junction across to there. Imamura, of course, another man that has been very prominent the other day across to Tiano. They have got better and better as each day has gone on, as we see a fantastic shot of the peloton being well stretched, giving a pretty good indication that the speed is on, and no surprise to see who is at the front. It is the Creation Science Motupōhue team. They have the man in orange, Josh Burnett, the 2022 champion, putting his teammates onto the front to try and shut things down, to try and keep things under control for the day.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive actually, and I think that looks like Marshall Irwood has just rejoined the back of the peloton here. He'll get called up for chasing duties. What a remarkable effort from that. Oh, and that's Jim Gardner, looks like he's got a mechanical, maybe a puncture. So Marshall Irwood rejoins the race, called in to chase.
Certainly not exactly the script that they would have hoped to come out with here today, but as we see Bailey O'Donnell once again picking up more points. This guy has just gone out there every day, Doug. He is well and truly up there with the most combative for the tour, let alone the green jersey.
Lead group here is quite well established. We've had a couple of leadership roles change, a couple of riders come and go, but the big threat here on this stage is Daniel Whitehouse, and I believe it's a gutsy move from this lad. He was a wee bit disappointed in himself yesterday up the Remarkables, felt that he may have been able to do better and have a bit more in the tank. He's redeeming himself here by going for a long range one. A brave man here in the SBS Bank Tour. You've got to have some confidence in yourself to do this sort of thing.
Absolutely, and this is a man that has come off, if you like, a bit of a semi-retirement. He stepped down from cycling for a few years after doing a lot of top-class racing in the United Kingdom, and has come back with a vengeance here, and is obviously enjoying his time here at the SBS Bank Tour of Southland as the winds now start to really buffet the riders here. Coming across, we'll have a look and see that riders trying to hide away, try and get protection from those around them.
This is really starting to blow up now. You can see, like you said, Julian, the riders are all hiding over on the left-hand side of the gutter. Typical Tour of Southland weather and Tour of Southland conditions, but the constant threat here at the front of the Creation Science Motupōhue New Zealand Cycling Project team, protecting their leader, keeping the pace on, keeping everything nice and tidy and clean at the front, as are the Transport Engineering South and Deep South team. They are seriously trying to control this race.
This lead group starting to blow up a wee bit. We had 8 riders, and all of a sudden, with that bit of a lift of the wind and into the gutter they go, it is no accident that Whitehouse has placed them fairly close to the left-hand side here, just to make life as difficult as possible for one or two. He decided the group was just too large, there were too many passengers, and has now reduced it down to 5, as we see a huge effort now going on the front. One of the former kilo record holders here, Nick Kirkazoo. He's put himself on the front for his team for the TES, and they are pounding into it, and I can just make out the pink colours of their teammate, the under 23-year-old Trezise from Australia. I would suggest, Doug, this could be a move from them to try and move him up in the general classification.
Yeah, very, very strong effort there from Nick Kirkazoo. We haven't seen a lot of him this year. Usually he's chasing those sprint ace points, but he's gone into a team role this year for the Transport Engineering South and Deep South team, and that was a smashing effort he just put in there and blew that whole field apart. Incredible.
I'd suggest he might have blown some of his teammates apart as well there, as it looks like Hamish Keast is the man that's managed to hold on. The big engine from Invercargill, now based in Christchurch. He takes his teammate with him, and he has got a job to do here. He is the engine on the front that is going to try and drag the man in the pink jersey across to the front.
So this lead group are slowly wearing this course out. They're coming along the flats, along back towards Waimatoa and back towards the township before you head left and start heading out to Bluff. There's a wee bit of fatigue going on further down the line here with some of these riders, but they've still got a lot of work ahead of them if they're going to get to Bluff with the buffer before they start climbing that hill.
So the objective here is for the man in the pink jersey, first and foremost, to get across to that drop 3 riders. Here they are here, number 66, Zach Walker of the Pista Corsa team. They'll get to them, and then they'll be trying to then slingshot off and get themselves right across to the front.
Yeah, this is one of the challenges you have when you're in these races. You've got groups coming forward, groups coming back. They'll be hoping to get maybe a wee bit of a toe off these guys, but Hamish Keast here, he is just burying himself for his under 23 leader. This is a huge team effort. Hamish Keast, we've seen him do this so many times in this SBS Bank Tour. The man is just a hammer, and he is the ultimate teammate for this sort of thing.
And we can see the rest have become passengers here as Noah Hollenby slots himself into third spot there for the Oxford Edge team, but the two men out in front, they're not looking to get any assistance here. They've decided we've got a mission to do. We're just going to keep rolling here. We're getting closer to Bluff, so we're just going to try and shut this down and potentially take some serious time on the general classification.
And we can see here on the leaderboard on screen, Daniel Whitehouse from QFS, 10th on GC at 9 minutes 53. No threat overall to the overall lead of the race, but is a big threat going into the stage win, and that is what he has been hunting. A minute 33 gap, and Daniel Whitehouse is really looking further ahead at the big climb.
So we can see now on the map where that climb actually is stated, and it's about 10k out here as we see a great shot of the peloton and what's going on here. And it's the Copeland's team here with the Cycling Time Racing team that have been put onto the front to try and shut things down at 2 minutes and 7 seconds. Then you've got the Tour Leaders team, the Creation Science and Motupōhue lining themselves up as well. And let's not forget about the Central Benchmakers. You've got Sam Jenner, who we've seen exceedingly well racing over the last few days, including the climbs here. They are well and truly in contention here to try and make some difference when they hit the hill, if they can catch this leading group.
Yeah, this leading group here, or the chasing group coming across to the leading group, are at 49 seconds gap off the front. So this will be an interesting scenario coming into the bottom of Lee Street. We saw back at the front of the peloton, the Creation Signs team are seriously ramping up their efforts to try and catch these guys. Here we are at the front of the race. Bailey O'Donnell doing the best he can to stay away here in the Home Solutions kit. Tour leader, the Sprint Ace jersey leader, but these guys really have put in a big effort at the front of this race to stay away.
In essence, we have 5 riders on the front rolling together, and there's really only 2 riders here that are doing the chasing, or maybe even one, with Keast, who's doing a significant amount of work here, as he needs to do here for his team leader, the man in the pink. And you can see he's given them a bit of a wave through the rest of them. Come on, guys, give us a hand. It is frustrating. They can see the leaders just up the road.
And here we are with the leader on the road, Daniel Whitehouse in the QFS kit. He is really looking strong. He looks so strong going up the Remarkables. I actually thought he may have put a wee bit much pressure on at the start of that climb, especially yesterday with Josh, and he may have paid for it a bit. This boy wants to win this stage. He was disappointed yesterday, but he is being pursued very quickly by the under-23 leader here in Trezise.
Yes, 2 different styles altogether, isn't it? When we saw Daniel Whitehouse looking very cool, calm and collected. Trezise and that powering into it, really digging deep here. He's had his teammate give him a very good slingshot into the base of the hill and is now trying to shut that down. But the guy out in front, he is so good on a bike here when it goes to uphills. We saw it yesterday, and today here in Bluff, he is looking exceedingly strong.
Yes, Daniel Whitehouse is looking very, very comfortable here. Lower slopes of this climb, of course, are early days. It's about a 7.5 minute climb. I think James Piccoli holds the record overall for this. But this man here, the under-23 jersey wearer, he is desperately trying to chase Daniel Whitehouse for the stage glory here up Bluff Hill. What a huge effort from these guys who have had a big day out at the front of the race.
Big day out for the Sprint Ace as he sits up. His day is over. He's done what he's needed to do. There goes the tour leader. He has jumped clear of the main peloton. Only 1 or 2 riders managing to stay with him there. I think Jenner in amongst the mixed as well. Of course, he's in the top 3 here, potentially for the general classification, as they go straight past the man in pink. And it was an outstanding shot of his face, the determination. But the man here on the orange jersey trying to set himself up to take a stage victory. But Whitehouse has still got a decent gap on these guys.
A decent gap he is going to have. You can see looking back the straights down in Bluff, this can mean nothing once you get to that top corner. There's about 25 seconds of complete hurt. Nothing like it in the world of cycling, at least in New Zealand cycling, coming up for Daniel Whitehouse. But he's over the gear. We saw this yesterday. He's absolutely killing himself, but is comfortably doing it.
And the scary part is there is still the next turn on the right-hand side at the top of this long straight, and frustrating for these riders. Again, they will be able to see him just up in the distance there, and they're trying desperately to get themselves up towards him, but trying also that balance of not going into the red.
Daniel Whitehouse is still out of his seat. We didn't see him do this a lot yesterday up the remarks. Today he's having to get out. It is so steep, this climb, and he is now approaching the steepest part of this whole day, and he is looking comfortable. The riders further back, Josh Burnett and Koa, are further back down the road, but Daniel Whitehouse is really, really putting in some massive power going around this curve.
This is the point on the road that we have seen riders get off their bikes in the past. They've gone from one side to the other as the man in the orange jersey continues to roll closer towards the leaders. There was 4 riders ahead of him here. He's going to run out of real estate, or is he going to be able to time this to perfection? It's going to have to be a massive Herculean effort here to try and get to the front.
Yeah, Josh Burnett's looking pretty comfortable. This is really tough going though, and the gaps, Samuel Jenner, you can see there, the central benchmaker's wall bike rider, he's going backwards, but Josh Burnett is pacing himself to perfection here. The rider in front of him, number 113, Luke Burns from Australia from the Copelands team, he has realised this gets really steep. Josh knows this climb like the back of his hand, and here he is, he's starting to unleash.
This is getting closer and closer with every single pedal stroke, but the pain that is rolling through the bodies of each and every one of these riders here. But Whitehouse coming up into the final corner, and it looks like he's got a family member there supporting him all the way down the straight to dig deep, and he is digging extremely deep. This looks like it could be a victory from the man from the United Kingdom. He has shown us today once again why he was considered to be one of the top contenders for climbing in this year's tour. As he rolls through for the last 100 metres, he does the professional thing and zips up the jersey in preparation for the photo. Daniel Whitehouse takes out the Back Country Cuisin Stage to Bluff. What an outstanding effort indeed here as we see the remnants of the next lot of riders trying to secure a podium finish.
And Josh Burnett is fast approaching. He's come up this last component of Bluff Hill like a freight train, catching these guys who are way out in front. There's Kean Watts just getting passed here by Josh Burnett. What an incredible ride from him.
So there's our winner, Daniel Whitehouse, at the top of Bluff Hill celebrating. And Will Heffernan here coming across for the I-Built team. An outstanding ride for him for second. And the man in orange secures third place today. He'll be a bit frustrated with that. He was targeting this particular stage, but he won't have lost any time as the man who takes out the win celebrates.
Josh Burnett, the tour leader in the grass, he may have given these guys just a bit much lead at the bottom of the climb. James Piccoli's record up Bluff Hill still stands, and there we see the under 23 leader Trezise coming across too. What a fantastic effort from all these riders. That has been a marvellous showing up Bluff Hill.
It smiles all around for the QFS team as Whitehouse takes out the Back Country Cuisin Stage. The leaders board certainly sees some change around with a few riders dropping a few places or the times being opened up, as now Josh Burnett leading by 1:41 over Wilson and Jenner by 2:52. Bailey O'Donnell, after a mammoth effort for the day, extends his lead in the Harcourt Sprint Ace. Josh Burnett, after another fantastic climb up Bluff Hill, now extends his points in the King of the Mountains for Jesco Hydraulics. Well, a big move today by Declan Trezise. He'll be thanking his teammates tonight here, and he moves into 4th overall and continues to lead the under 23. No change when it comes to the Geraldine Cheese Co. over 35 riders, with Luke McPherson leading that by 2:28 over Hayden. It's the British rider Daniel Whitehouse, the stage winner of the day, who was awarded the Macleay Jewelers Most Combative. While Creation Science Motupōhue New Zealand Cycling Project continues to lead in the Wednesday Cycles team classification over PowerNet and Advanced Personnel Cycling Team. Folks, would you put your hands together for Daniel Whitehouse of QFS, the winner of the Back Country Cuisin Stage.
As far as history goes, this is my first tour. It's been awesome. Cameron and Nick at Quality Food Southland and Golf Brothers Engineering have been unbelievably supportive as an environment. I mean, more so than most of my years racing professionally. It's been really good, so I've absolutely loved it so far. I'm certainly looking forward to Gore tomorrow because I've heard that the weather's meant to be a bit sour, and that suits me. Got my heritage. Some rainy days back in the UK. So yeah, no, certainly not done yet.
Follow the action from this historic race with live race updates, full results and pictures at tourofsouthland.com.